So here, interestingly, we have both players switching up who they're playing. I don't know if they both played random or they agreed to do this or whatever, or if they both like playing. I know Asso likes to play random a lot. I don't know about iBaWs, but we now have this same matchup that we saw Tiger Style and Just Plain Savage play. So this will actually be interesting to see how this goes. If iBaWs can hold off that same tank rush, or if Asso will even do that same tank rush. Being a random player, you don't know whether he will have so many sort of different strategies for each faction. Very standard opening so far on both sides. More actually, this is interesting. However, this is a slight variation. Again, he's gone for both of his first two production buildings before putting this out there so he can get this further. I'm interested to see. I don't think he'll try long distance mining to that, but I'm interested in why he chose to do it that way. Because he's not produced anything from here. He only has archers and orcs so far, so I think that was just, honestly, probably a mistake. Maybe insurance, just in case he got aggressed on really early. He sent this orc up here to look. But, you know, this is going to be a real aggressive tier 1 rush coming from Asso. I think he could have got that economy going faster and then placed this where that is. But he's moving out now. He actually is long distance mining from there. Fair enough. He accidentally blocked some of his gold miners there before realizing it and replacing that. That's quite amusing. And now Asso is moving all his troops to the front. We can start to get to see, this is the point where you'll get to actually see some divergence. The most important building to see in this build is probably the next building he makes, and it is going to be that Just Plain Savage style tank rush. That's really good to see. And now we're going to get to see if iBaWs can hold this off any better than Tiger Style could. Knowing Tiger Style as a very heavy Death Swarms player, probably the main faction he plays, and I believe iBaWs is not someone who plays heavily Death Swarm. I would assume that this is just a slightly lower level version of the game we saw before. No offense to these guys, but Asso being a random player is not going to be as succinct as Just Plain Savage is going to be on that. But it will be very interesting to see what the difference is. A lot more Arbalists than I would expect in this composition. I do not think that's going to be good. He's actually not teched at all and is just going for a lot of these these factories, I will call them. Because to me, everything is Barracks Factory Starport. God bless StarCraft 2. Okay, so this actually isn't turning out to be anything like the sort of rush that that Just Plain Savage did. They sort of both built up these armies, these quite early low-tier armies, and have now both decided to tech. Ready to fight early, and then sort of nothing happened. And he's just going into this now. So he has these two motor pools, I believe they're called, before going for this helipad. I have no idea if that's called a helipad, but I think helipad sounds right. So, yeah, now sort of quite typical late game starting to come out. You've got these catapults, lots of archers still running down. I'm interested to see, he's going to go there. No, he's going shamans first, it looks like. It's a very interesting difference. He has basically nothing to defend against the air here. And here we are going to see the strength, or lack thereof, of Arbalists. I think Asso in this game has managed to get onto a higher tier of units a lot faster. These tanks, you know, Arbalists are essentially the comparison of these armoured cars, and you can see there's only like an armoured car left, 2 armoured cars, mainly tanks, and this is going to be quite an advantage to Asso's army, And here we go. Oh, these choppers can go out and harass. Oh, yes. We have the harassing choppers going to start clearing off these mineral line. And just as I start to get exciting, they come back for the fight. But that's fair enough. I mean, these tanks, he should select these tanks and walk them into this army. I don't think there's any reason really not to. Although maybe the slow is a reason not to, perhaps. These should be also focused on catapults because they are doing absolutely no damage to these archers. But like I said, just the advanced complexity of Asso's army is just not letting iBaWs really have a gap. He is starting to get this force up more. Some of these shamans in, a lot of these catapults. But I think ah, yes, that was his little scout thing or whatever he has from this, his little spell that gives him. I'm not used to seeing the spells that much. So he still has these going in. Doesn't look like they've done... Oh, it looks like they've done a bit of harassment to this. Maybe killed a worker or two and injured that. I would like to see these choppers over this side of the map a lot more than they are, though. They are sitting here doing very little work for quite a lot of the time. Where did his ground army go, though? He actually seems to have taken a really bad fight. But like I said earlier, like there is just like actually no ground army. Like if I was him, I would suicide all these tanks now. I mean, they are. Look how slow they are from these catapults. That's ridiculous. But there we go. See, he's throwing some tanks in. It wasn't really done incredibly well, but all he needs to do is get these archers and shamans off the field, and there is nothing to deal with this huge mass of rocket helicopters. This game is actually going far differently to how I thought. Oh, there's a balloon to take down these tanks, I guess. I'm not sure how useful the balloon is going to be, because it's not really going to help against these rocket helicopters, which I think are his main problem here. Tanks rolling in, trying to find a few more crushable units. Again, moving these as a big group is less effective to splitting them all out, just like with... yeah, but look, all these balloons, they just get killed by these, and here's where the artillery starts to come in. He's got these late artillery, and what they do is they don't give as like a toss about this oil spills, which really hamper the tanks. But the artillery, they don't care. They outrange everything. They just sit back and just fire their shots all the way over. And now these helicopters are really putting a blunt on these forces. These balloons just get absolutely destroyed. Look at that. Slam. Almost dead. Smart AI there, making sure not to target all of those, waste any of those shots on the balloon. And like I said, very few archers, very few shamans left up, and he has nothing to deal with this air, and this big army of tanks just roll through. Maybe Tiger Star's right. Maybe this is a little slightly imbalanced matchup right now. It definitely looks like a hard matchup to beat. I would definitely say that from watching it, Renegade's quite strongly favoured in this matchup. I'm interested in seeing what people find out. I think this is going to be the matchup that a lot of the higher level players are going to be working on recently to try and find a solution to. But that was quite a decently fun long game. So let's look into the next one. I keep hitting escape to try and bring that up and wondering why it doesn't come up. I'm so